Hey, hello everybody. This is the second painting I want to show you. This one is also as large as the butterscotch house. This is 4 feet by 2 feet. And a little bit later in this video I'm going to show you what I use instead of a canvas. We have a park nearby my house that has a swamp. And I went there and I took pictures of the swamp. And I came home and I painted this thing. I have another painting, an original one of fireflies. I kind of like that one, so I decided one day I was going to paint another firefly, and this is it. I call it Fireflies. If you look on the left, next to that big tree on the left, there's some blue irises down on the bottom. It's a reference to Van Gogh. I don't always, but I sometimes try to put a reference to Van Gogh in every painting that I do. If you look on the right on the bottom, you'll see a little green square, and inside that square it says DBL. I know it's hard to see, but if I sign a painting on the right, that means it's oil paints. If I sign it on the left, that means it's acrylic. And the little green background, what I do is I paint like a little green box, and then I'll put my initials in there. And the green, all the months I have color coded. So the green means that it was painted in March. And it's oil, and on the back it has the year. That was 2021, this one. Also, I make my own frames. This frame here is pretty simple, but what I do is Home Depot sells floor molding. So I go and I buy, big strips of floor molding, and I cut it down and make frames out of it. Frames are really crazy expensive. So are canvases. I looked up this canvas here. If you want a canvas that's 24 by 48, it cost you $229 for that canvas. That's crazy. I mean, this whole painting here, not counting the paint, but the whole thing was like less than 18 bucks. Well, no, wait, with the frame, I would say this was 25 bucks with the frame. But right now wood is sky high, and I'm glad I bought a bunch of wood before it went sky high, because now I've got a bunch of frames that don't have anything in them yet, but wood right now is sky high, so it would cost you a little more than that, but okay, so let me see, I'm changing the colors here. I like this painting in the dark, in a darker setting. And actually the blue looks pretty good in there too. I never noticed that before. But the less light on this one, the better. It makes the fireflies stand out a little more. Here, let me tell you a secret. If the painting is signed on the right, then it's oil. If it's signed on the left, then it's acrylic. An easy way to remember that is, A comes before O. So A, acrylic, will be on the right, on the left, and the oil paint will be on the right. So now you know. Now I'm going to show you what I use for a canvas for this and the butterscotch house, for the big ones, the 2 feet by 4 feet. Home Depot has a product. It's called MDF. And what it is, it's like a particle board. They call it a hardboard, and it's like 1/8 of an inch thick. It's kind of like paneling that you'd put up on your wall, but on the one side, it doesn't have the grooves like paneling would have. It's just all smooth on one side. And in fact, here, I'm going to show you here. it comes in sheets, 4 feet by 8 feet. And there you go. That's the back side of it. And you know what? It actually has a texture like canvas. Can you see it? Yeah, there you go. You can see the texture is almost like canvas. All right. What's that? Yucca board. I don't know. Yucca board. But anyway, it's $9 for 8 by 4 feet. So what I do is I have Home Depot cut it in half for me. That doesn't cost you anything. And you end up with 4 feet by 2 feet. You know, it's perfect. It's really good. Okay, what I do then is I paint the textured side. I paint that with this stuff called Kilz. Kilz is a product that, you know, if you've got walls that are stained, you know, maybe the kids did the crayons and all that, Kilz right there, that stuff, that'll cover any stain or any oil stains or anything like that on the wall. It'll cover it. So what I do is I use the Kilz on the textured side of the MDF board, and what I do is I put 3 coats. All right, 3 coats. Now I also water it down. I don't use it as thick as it is in the can. I water it down. Okay, so 3 coats, and then what I do is I sand it with 100 grit sandpaper. I don't sand it smooth. I just sand it, you know, to get out any, you know, bumps or anything in it. And then I put 2 more coats of Kilz on it. All right, so behind the Fireflies, I have 5 coats of Kilz. Okay, same thing with the Butterscotch house. Same thing. There's 5 coats of Kilz on it. All right. This video is a little bit out of order. I wanted to show the sandpaper next because, you know, that's what you do is you put the Kilz on, then you sandpaper it. But I goofed. All right. So wait a minute. Hold on. I got a funny story about this guy here, Bob Ross. All right. I joined a Facebook group that I wanted to put some of my paintings in and get people's opinions. You know, I just wanted to get some opinions of my paintings. Okay, so I joined this Facebook group, and one of the rules to join was if you even so much as mention the name Bob Ross, you are automatically kicked out. They don't like Bob Ross. They don't think that Bob Ross is an artist. What they say is Bob Ross is a technique painter. In other words, he's found a technique with his knives and the big brushes, and he found a market, and he took advantage of that market. See, little known fact about Bob Ross is he never sold one painting. He doesn't sell paintings. He didn't have to. What he sells is art supplies. He sells, you know, canvas, paints, brushes, blah, 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 all of that. And he made a lot of money doing it. So anyway, this product that I'm holding up here, this is gesso. It's called gesso. And what you do is you put gesso before you start to paint. You paint 1 layer of gesso. And what gesso does is it will neutralize any kind of acids or oils or anything that's in the layer below it. So in other words, let's say you were going to paint on a piece of oak. All right, you put the gesso on the oak and then paint on top of the gesso, and what'll happen is your paints will be preserved. They, in other words, no oil or acids from the wood will affect your paint. Your paint will stay vibrant, colorful. It won't fade. You know, the gesso protects your paint. You know, and Bob Ross has painted a lot of happy little trees. That much I can tell you. Anyway, so what we have right now is we've got 5 coats of Kilz, sanded down, and 1 coat of Bob Ross gesso. It's Gesso, and that's it. All right, now you're ready to paint. Okay, There's the 100 grit sandpaper that it's out of order. I should have put that back in the beginning. All right, now let me show you what's on the back of this painting. See, I was afraid that this particle board stuff, this MDF, I was afraid that if it absorbed humidity, that it might start to warp. So what I did was I screwed these pieces of wood into the frame, and then I glued the pieces of wood onto the, well, actually onto the front of the MDF, and it's solid. I mean, right now that thing is solid. It's not going to bend. It's not going to warp. It's not going to bow. It's not going to do anything. It's as good as can be. It's solid on there. All right. So anyway, that's the history of the butterscotch house and the fireflies. Yeah. So here's the cost. The board is $9 for 4x8 feet. The gesso was $14, but you water it down. You know, you can get a lot of paintings out of one $14 container. The Kilz is $19 a gallon, but you can get a lot of use out of it. Maybe 15 to 20 paintings. The sandpaper is minimal, $3. That's about it. Like I said, I looked up a canvas for this size, and it would be $229 just for the canvas. You know, you still need the gesso. What else? Yeah, that's about it. I'm going to say this whole painting right here, not counting the paint, not counting the colored paint, this whole painting cost me about $25. All right, I got to go.